Talk, everyone. Today we're interviewing Jaris James. Jaris is a core member at Bankless DAO and a delegate at Rarible in the Rari DAO, and just an awesome DAO builder in the space. So we're going to dive into, in particular, what he's been working on in Rarible, and also just like his ideas and stuff he wants to build for the space. So Jaris, welcome to DAO Talk.
Thanks for having me, man. Excited to be here. Been a fan of yours for a while. Been a big supporter of Tally for a while, and just happy to be here on the space and kick it with you.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. Stoked for this conversation. So maybe you can just get us started by talking a little bit about your background and just kind of how you ended up getting into working in DAOs.
Yeah. So prior to becoming a DAO member, I was more so a graphic designer. So I was working on drop shipping, working on my own clothing brand at the time, and then I wanted to focus on high end fashion as opposed to streetwear. And I noticed that a lot of brands were changing their decorative fonts from, these wild serif fonts like Burberry and Yves Saint Laurent. Like instead of it being so decorative, it just went from using a sans serif font. And I gave myself a challenge and see if I could create my own sans serif font from scratch. And then um, I noticed that these marketplaces was charging very high commissions, so just decided to create an NFT. Once I learned what an NFT was from a bankless video with Mark Cuban, so I decided that was a much more efficient route to go about it. Much more aligned with me, of course. Instead of having to pay like a 40% commission fee to the centralized platform. And then once I went down the rabbit hole of Ethereum and DAOs, I just pretty much didn't turn back from there. And then what really got me into this space initially was just investing for the first time, which was in GME. So I got into GME pretty early, got into that short squeeze and just wanted more experience. I wanted to experience that again and purchase some more volatile assets. Got into crypto, and then yeah, like I said, like once I learned about NFTs, that was it.
I love it. I love it. So it sounds like a fellow 2020, 2021 kind of like entrance. Yeah, similar time frame here. Um, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I think the path you kind of outlined in terms of like discovering a problem and then trying to build a solution and just kind of repeating until you found your way into crypto is going to come up more in this conversation as we talk about what you're doing now in the space. So as a next step, we'd love to dig into what you're doing for Rarible. We're really close to the Rari DAO at Tally. They're an important client. They recently put a proposal on Tally that I think you've been involved in. It uses Tally's new delegate rewards feature, where you can just build in rewards for the contributors to the proposal directly into Tally. So I saw you on there. I was like, let's go, because I knew you from other stuff. I was like, gotta talk to Jess about this. So yeah, would just love to hear like what you've been working on in the Rarible DAO in general, and feel free to speak to the proposal that's live right now as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, just love how this all came, full circle. Just like how I mentioned the font, like the marketplace that I launched it on was Rarible. I mainly chose it because I like the UI of the platform more than the other marketplaces at the time. And yeah, and then when we connected, it was around delegation week, like right before delegation week, and wanted to collaborate with you, write a article about it to show people how to get involved. And then yeah, and then we hosted that demo together, just showcasing like all about Tally. And then shortly after that demo, like a day or two after, I saw that the Rari Foundation has followed the Relationships account where we hosted the demo. That's our sub community that's spun out of Bankless style. And then they just mentioned how they launched a delegate launchpad program. So I also wanted them to present a demo for us at Relationships. And yeah, that's how I learned how to become a delegate over there. Saw that they were a really cool community. Three people joined. We had Yana, the head of strategy, join for that demo. Also Fumbles, and we also had Zinnia on the marketing team. And then it just was warm vibes all across the board there, and just wanted to contribute more. So started joining their meetings and became a delegate. And then in one of our meetings, we decided, well, one of the members, Matt from Stable Labs, he came up with an idea to create a delegate incentive program. And my contribution pretty much was to assist in creating a score, like a delegate score. So I do have experience with scraping. I used to scrape Twitter until it became almost virtually impossible after Elon Musk took over. But shout outs to Elon though. See, you doing what you got to do. But anyway, but anyway, yeah, with my experience with scraping, I decided, I could scrape the forums. I was working on it anyway. I had all the topics in the database, but not the posts. So I figured I'll go ahead and scrape the posts as well. And they also wanted to factor in tally votes. And I saw that, like at that time, I didn't have any experience scraping tally, so we was looking to use a third party. But on the call with Yana, I just looked at the Tally website again more closely and pretty much said to myself, it don't look that difficult to scrape. So yeah, I figured it out over a weekend and then put together a database file and shared it with Christian, one of the lead devs on the Variable team. And yeah, and created a pretty cool delegate score, and can't wait for the dashboards to go live, as well as going to make participation and governance much more fun and interactive.
Hell yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah, you it's funny, like a lot of the people that I like respect most in the space and like, have known for a while, like you they always come back, right? Like like the builders or the people that have gotten the most traction, it's like, you know, um just kind of relentlessly figuring out what the next thing to do is, and they always end up like coming back into my life somehow. So when I saw you come back, I was like, yeah, dude, Jaris is the real one. Like look out. So yeah, I absolutely dig it. I'm just curious. So I want to dig a little bit more into this, like scraping kind of project you're doing. Like, talk to me about why. So, like, what was the problem that you saw in the DAO, or like the opportunity that you're kind of trying to address with this project?
Yeah, so like just scraping in general, just like what I would like to do with the information scraped.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, what's the use case? Like, what will people use it
Got
for?
it. Got it. All right, awesome. All right, so the reason why I even started scraping forums altogether, it was an idea that was pitched to me from the founder of Hedgie Finance. Big shout outs to Lindsay, the founder of Hedgie, so open source project for grant distribution or lock token distribution for grants, investing. And during one of our calls, I also do BD for them, and during one of our calls, I was telling them how I was scraping Twitter information to assist with marketing. Like when I first joined, I really wanted to help more so with marketing. And then I found my fitting more so with setting up calls and forming partnerships. But he mentioned to me, he said, instead of scraping Twitter, why don't you scrape discourse forums? Because he was saying that's where all the like important conversations are being held. But at that time, I'm a very stubborn person, so to speak. So like, I was focused more so on Twitter anyway, until it became virtually impossible to scrape it. Although it's a way around it now, but now I'm focused more so on discourse forums. So one day, I decided, like I still wanted to continue being a source of information on Twitter, like for as far as making my tweets and everything. I used to use a platform, Lunar Crush, in order to discover like what's going on in the space overall. But they don't really index DAOs all that well. It's more so focused on trading. So I went ahead and said, all right, let's see if I could scrape a discourse forum. I never built one from scratch. I utilized an open source framework called SN Scrape. So I just had to interact with it, and I was very new to coding last year. Like I just got into coding a year ago, and so I knew how to interact with it, but I had no idea how to build it from scratch. So I used Chat GPT and see if we could build a forum scraper just to test it out. Because usually ChatGPT doesn't go like straight into it. It will get around like the ethical reasons of scraping and it kind of like dance around it. But it went right into it once when I just asked a question about scraping this forum and just shared some code elements with it. Just using your best friend as a scraper is going to be F12. Just using inspect and just sharing certain classes for certain things that you want to scrape, like usernames and things like that. And it just went ahead and did it, and I was able to pretty much scrape the topics, and maybe it took maybe no more than 10 minutes. So shoot, I could really build this thing with ChatGPT. I mean, of course, it took a while, and there's sometimes where the script, like with ChatGPT, you just have to be very direct in your prompts in order to get something very like high quality and actually get something that works. Um, And then yeah, so I just toyed around with it for a while, maybe about a few weeks, in order to actually get it to scrape posts, because there were some issues with the scrolling mechanism. But yeah, once I got that all together, just collecting all this data, then I was thinking like, what can actually be done with this information if we made it to where like where the DAO could pretty much get access to this information, where it's nice and neat and organized, and they're able to sift through it and be able to figure out who's their top contributors, what time of the day are people most active, and things like that. And then during one of our relationships calls, when I was explaining how I was putting all this information into a database, something that came to mind was, why not, create like a social media platform out of this and showcase what's the most trending topics in the DAO, so as well as who are the top contributors for a DAO, who bring the most impact for a DAO, what are the most impactful posts that were ever made on a DAO forum. And then from there, I was just thinking like, what if we could pretty much just use this to distribute on-chain achievements for members? Um, it'll go deeper than just the forums. I want to start there just to, bring excitement to the platform and just showcase what's really going on in the DAO space. And but the grand vision is to have people also be able to mint their contributions, so DAOs to be able to track that as well. So then you could mint on-chain achievements for them, and that's something I want to use the Rarible protocol for. Being that it's open source, we could create soulbound tokens for achievements, and I wanted to resonate the experience of playing PlayStation, for an example, because when I got involved in the DAO, it really felt very much like playing a game, like leaving the platform that we use, Discord. That was primarily a service created for gamers. And then my first experience with Discord was through Bankless DAO. So it was through a work experience, basically. And my main driver in order to become a core member of Bankless DAO was to be an L2. I wanted to become a level 2 member and see my name on the leaderboard highlighted in orange. So that was one of my main drivers. So like putting this platform together, I wanted to feel very reminiscent to a game and take some concepts from PlayStation in there. Because like working in the DAO space, it definitely feels like a blessing. It's a privilege, to be here and build this new world together, based off of open source software. So with all this information, basically we could see who are the top contributors, mint badges for them, and create systems that's based on merit, not just because there's some flaws in DAOs as well. Because if you just become friends with the right person, you can obtain a role even if you're not necessarily qualified for it. So, like, let's say, if we create a system that's based on merit, you can actually prove your work ethic, prove your work experience, and let's say if you have to run for an election, at least you're eligible for that particular role. And then we can utilize Hat's protocol there for putting the role on chain. Basically, I want to put like every action in the DAO on chain, our own public open source database. In this case, Ethereum or some type of L2, maybe Optimism. I use DK Sync. Yeah.
Awesome. I dig it. I dig it. So yeah, all the DAO homies out there, keep an eye out for what Jaris is building. With that, like it's if it's okay with you, I'd love to transition to some closing questions that we always ask. The first one is a two-parter. So what's your favorite part about working in crypto and DAOs? And then what's your least favorite part or something think we need to kind of work on as a community?
My favorite part of working in DAOs is it's multifaceted. I guess I would say being able to create your own schedule is nice. Um, I also love the fact that I'm working with people all across the world and I'm learning so much. I guess yeah, I would say that my favorite part of working in DAOs is like a mesh of education and work at the same time. So I'm earning while I'm learning. That's definitely how it feels. It's almost like getting paid to go to school. That's what I love about DAOs, and yeah, and just learning about open source software and learning how important it is. Especially now that I just began coding, now I see how important open source software is, and just building together. That's what I love the most, because I tried launching a few businesses before getting involved in Web3. Um, and just like working with close friends and things like that, which didn't pan out that well. Like working with like like childhood friends and things like that may not have the same vision or work ethic as you do. But when you get involved in the DAO space, the people here, they're so passionate. and there's people all across the world, and they're very talented. And it's just I felt very confident to create like anything that I wanted to create. I know I can assemble a team and get it done. That's what I love about DAOs. And then as far as what we can do to make it better, we just need better tooling, and tooling that's really geared to the advancement of DAOs, not so much proprietary or just generating revenue because like other members may not know how to code or something like that. Like just capitalizing that way. I rather like we create tools that's actually going to be used for the betterment like right now. So like let's put achievements on chain, let's like verify, like create verifiable credentials that actually showcase people's talent, and then they could take it with them. Because one thing right now is like everything, what I don't like is that everything is fractured. There's so many different platforms that people have to use within DAOs, and you can't take your reputation with you. So like let's say you contribute to a DAO and then it's no longer around, it's almost like all your work was in vain. So if you had all that work on chain, you could just bring it with you anywhere. So that's something that I would like to see happen, and build that with the people that are competent and able to put that together. So I just want to assemble a really strong team in Web3, and put this together and make it open source, of course, so people can contribute as well and improve the code. There's always bugs in the code, so we always need improvement.
I dig it. I dig it. That's a big part of our vision as well at Tally, is to kind of democratize the real power in DAOs. So like kind of we feel like um, the real power is in kind of the admin authority over the contracts, whether that be the treasury or any related smart contracts or protocols that the DAO owns. And we want anyone who wants to be involved in the DAO, whether that's like a token holder or some other stakeholder, to be able to actually directly control those contracts. And so we're trying to make that easy for to learn and participate in. So that definitely resonates with me as well. So thanks for sharing that. I love it. So the final question is not something crypto related, although it can be if you if you want it to be, which is what's your favorite place in the world and why?
Well, I haven't done a whole lot of traveling in my life thus far. I do look forward to going to East Denver. Who knows? Maybe Denver might be my favorite place in the near future. Right now, off the top of my head, I'm probably gonna say a really nerdy answer, but like my favorite place right now to be is probably in a PowerShell terminal or VS Code. That's pretty much my favorite place to be, is VS Code right now.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, I love it. um there's probably like plenty of people in the space that if they answered honestly, that would give the same answer. So
Yeah.
I dig it. Cool, man. Well, Jaris, it's so nice getting to know you a little bit better. I'm sure we'll keep working on stuff together going forward. And thanks so much for coming on Dow Talk.
No problem, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me, and definitely looking forward to collaborating more in the future, especially with that platform that I was talking about. I would love for Tally to be integrated, because Tally gives everyone a voice. You can actually put your money where your mouth is, and you can, it just makes everything more open and transparent. So not just like a few members of a DAO decides on its future, like the actual token holders have a say there, and then it's all on chain. And I just want to see more things go on chain. So definitely want to form a deeper connection there.